Chapter 11 starts with the market revolution. It transformed the U.S. economy. Trade skyrocketed through new transportation and communication. The Erie Canal made New York a leading commercial center. Railroads, steamboats, these things reduced travel time, and the telegraph allowed for almost instant messaging. Industrialization changed the lives of everyone. Factories and wage labor replaced traditional forms of work. Women and children worked in textile mills and factories. There was even a religious revival during this time, through the 1840s. And through these reform movements, the Second Great Awakening takes place. Public education, free public schools, movements against alcohol, crime, and poverty. All these things are taking place. So we're just going, you know. Westward expansion's happening. Americans believed that God intended for the United States to spread across North America. The phrase manifest destiny becomes popular. People moved west seeking opportunity. Due to this, Native Americans became displaced. They were moved out of their homes. Policies of Indian removal continued beyond the Mississippi River. Slavery became an issue as well. And Americans debated whether slavery would spread into these new territories out west. And the territorial expansion intensified sectional tensions between the North and the South. Some wanted slavery and some didn't. Really, the North and the South were at the end of chapter 11, we see that the Mexican-American War greatly helped expand the U.S. territory. The war expanded us, but it hurt the slavery debate heavily. Mexico gave up about half of their territory, including what we now know as California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and even parts of other states. Because of this, so much land was given to us, and that really spiked the slave debate. Chapter 11 shows us a rapid period of growth in the U.S., but this growth ultimately grew tension throughout the U.S. When it comes to slave talks. In chapter 11, it starts with the expansion of slavery. The land gained after the Mexican-American War reignited these debates of slavery. Northerners feared slavery would dominate Western territories, and Southerners believed that limiting slavery threatened their economy and their way of life, their way of living and making money. And so by the 1850s, sectional conflict between the North and the South became the nation's biggest issue. And then we're out west, and the gold rush happens. This just accelerates the westward expansion like crazy. The discovery of gold brought hundreds and thousands of people west, forcing Congress to decide if California would be a slave state or a free state. So then you got the Compromise of 1850. California becomes a free state. The territories of Utah and New Mexico could decide if they wanted to be slavery could decide slavery by popular sovereignty. And then you got the Fugitive Slave Act. This act forced Americans to assist in returning enslaved people. Free black Americans were sometimes even kidnapped and illegally enslaved, being confused as actual slaves. And then this grew the Northern resistance, and many communities even just openly defied the law. Then you got Uncle Tom's Cabin, a piece of literature that increased opposition to slavery. This novel was one of the best-selling books of the 19th century, and it just showed the cruelty of slavery. Then you got the Kansas-Nebraska Act, allowing settlers to vote on slavery. This formed the Republican Party. The Missouri Compromise formed the Republican Party. Then you got Dred Scott and John Brown scaring these people, and then the election of Abraham Lincoln was the real kicker, and that just that was the mark that made us want to separate. So that's what we got in the 2 chapters. Have a great day.